Aha, so hey everyone, now I can talk. Nice to see you, nice to hear you. Hey, Kishore, Bhagwat, how are you? Thank you for letting me know that there is no audio. I hope this is now better. Fantastic. Hey Flutterist, nice to see you. Let's see if we get successful. I mean, when then we do it together, right? So I have to close that one down. I think I have to move my camera a little bit. I see the branding. I don't know if you see that because we started with that yesterday. I don't know if this is a good idea, but we implemented that or added that now. So let's see if I can move my camera a little bit to the left. Maybe. Ah, close, but not quite. So, fantastic that it worked today again. So I'm really looking forward to this session because it brings further my personal things that I want to do, and this is the Dart Koans, and where I think that new Dart developers have the most benefit from it. And most of you most likely don't know the perfect Kishore. Most of you most likely don't know the Dart Koans yet, but the Dart Koans are for me like, or I don't know if you know the Koans, so maybe we make a short talk about that again. So a Koan is where you learn a language, a programming language, by developing in it. So usually you write some tests and fix some tests, and by fixing these tests, you're getting deeper and deeper understanding of the programming language that you are working in. So that means when you are working with Dart, we will have some tests prepared. So with my first initial idea was to just write some tests down. And then after we fix the test, so for example, this expected true is false, is of course false, so the test is failing apart. And now we need to fix this. So if I turn here true to true, we would get a solution. So the idea here is to bring that a bit more alive. And the problem with the testing like this is that the order of the different tests is not stable. So that means I can't write a story with the tests. So my idea was to build a runner around it, and this was what we did the last time in the session, where we write a runner for the whole thing, and now we got also some colors with the nice little with a nice little package called ANSI color, right? So ANSI color exactly. And what we can do now in our terminal is, for example, run the bin.main.dart. And the cool thing about permission denied. Fantastic. So this was not what I expected. So how can I enhance the? This will be Mac session. Sorry for that. This was unexpected. This was something with S777, right? So permissions Mac executable. Just a second. I can do that also with you guys because I think maybe someone is interested. So Mac executable permission. Or does someone of you know the command for that on the fly? I forgot that. Chmod was it? Yeah. So chmod, and then I'm giving the path. I think 777 should be fine. So they get all permissions like write, read, and execute. And I give the file inside, which is that one. And if I'm executing it now, we still get some. Of course, we want to Dart execute it. Yeah, way better. So you see, I didn't work with Dart a long time, so I forgot about that again. But if we execute it with Dart, you can see we get now an error. Something has a problem. Thinking about asserts was a problem here. And the cool thing is now we get the message. Please think about the following. We get the link to the package name, and we get what is wrong with a hint text, what we can change here. So if we check and click on that link, we immediately jump to the file, and we can fix that now. So if I'm saying here now true is true, and we're looking back to our terminal, we can see immediately that the watcher has reloaded, and we have now a tick with a green one and a red one. Thank you, Flutterist. Did you fix your problems finally with your shared preferences? I've just seen that all the time and I'm thinking, sometimes I don't know if you have your clear picture on the shared preferences thing. So make it false again. Cool. And now our users could change these tests and fixing these tests and learning the language with that. So we learned, okay, we know now how an assert is working, right? If it is true, it is true. Unfortunately, no. Okay. Should we maybe later doing a session again, or adding that maybe after we have done something here, then we can maybe take another look how we fix your problem with the shared prefs. Okay, but we can go further. And if we fix now a multiple test, the Dart watcher is running again and executes now the second part of it. Fantastic. So now we have now green ticks, 2 of them, and we have 1 red. So, and the problem at the moment is it only works with 1 file. So about asserts. Comments are behind your video screen. Ah, right, I moved that. Thank you, Minu. I forgot about that. So just give me a second. And let's see if I can move them. This is that. Chat box. Here we go. And let's move the chat box down here. So now it should be better. Let's chat a bit and then we'll see. Can you give me some smileys that we see if the thing is working? I also added some cool new features. If you are on my website, that I can also show you. Sorry. So if we are on the website for FlutterExplained.live, you will see there some cool stuff that I added. Down here, I added now commands to our chat. So that means if you don't know, for example, when the next stream is, you can make hashtag stream. Sorry, exclamation mark stream, and then you get like a short info when the next stream will be. Or at least I hope it will work. Did it work? No? Sad. Okay, I thought it would work better because I maybe I made something wrong in the creation. Sad. Okay, I have to double check that once more. Okay, but anyway, for the next time, I hope this will be fixed. So you see the streams are getting better and better with each time, because also I added now a remote control to my phone. So we can now do all the different stuff that I had before, like going, for example, offline. So then you can't see me anymore. But yeah, all that cool stuff. But I don't want to break too much, sorry for that. So back to our asserts. So we managed it now to have a runner, but one problem is that we can do it only with 1 file at the moment. So we have this chapter 1 asserts, and if I'm looking again in the terminal, we get the error message, that's fine. But what I would like is that we have like a loop that is going through our different files that we have, right? Because now it is only the about asserts. How can we do that? So we have the main function, which is currently our starter, right? With that, we start the whole application. And inside of here, we run in a manager spawn. It is a paid version of the domain. So yeah, I pay for it at the moment. All sponsored by Arvin and Stefan at the moment, because I think they are my own donors so far. I think you can see that also on that page. If you go... we have 2 websites. Yeah, so this FlutterExplained.live is one that is paid by me. And it's over the Streamlabs, I think. And the other thing is the Miracle Design.de that we currently use for our blog, more or less. And both websites belong to us and they are paid. So, yeah. Cool. What I wanted to show? Yeah, anyhow. Let's go back to our spawn. So we had a manager, which is a process manager. And this spawns a new instance of a terminal and runs our fantastic Dart Koans runner. And what this happens is now the Dart Koans runner is checking. How do you find that always? That was, I don't know, years and years ago, I was Lion Ranger with my YouTube account. That was my first nickname as a child, like I was 12 or something. And I was called, and I called myself Lion Ranger. And everywhere in this YouTube channel, it always pops up. So now I regretted that I didn't create a new YouTube channel. So I just stick with the old one. And I don't know where it is. I don't know where you find that always. Is it on this website? I thought I removed that everywhere, but it seems that somewhere in the darkest corners of YouTube, it saved my old name, and since then I didn't get it rid of. So if you are planning to create a YouTube channel, create a new one. Believe me, it's easier. But where did you find that? Is that somewhere here? No, or I don't know. But yeah, these are the problems that I'm working with at the moment. Oh, okay. So back to our problems that we want to solve. So we have currently just thinking about asserts. So not only that we have twice about, I think we can remove one of them. User Lion Ranger, really? I don't know. It's so funky. So it is on that page. Open. Yeah, I think I played a lot of Warcraft 3 and there was the name very hyped for me. Okay, so we have the spawns here, pub.dev, exactly, we run this whenever we start up our application, we run that one time, and after that we use the watcher who is listening the whole time and starting. In link continue with that one. Yeah, nah, I don't think so. I think FlutterExplained is a good name. Okay, so what do we have here? Dart Koans, exactly. We have now created a class mirror, and this was only for the about asserts. So here we create our first time the class mirror, so we can have all the different classes, and after that we check for the instances. How could we create now a list that we can loop through, for example? So that we have, instead of this name, a bit more. Yeah, exactly, Kado. It's impossible to change it again. If you once be Lion Ranger, you will be always Lion Ranger. I think I wrote that in YouTube for a support ticket, but nobody cared, so... It is like it is, and now I will live with that forever. And it's always good for a laugh, so that's fantastic. So, where did I want it to go? Yep, so we have the about asserts, but where do we get that from? So one option would be that we create a list of types, right? I don't know if this is possible in Dart even. So if we create here a list of type, and we would now create here like types, something like that. Is that possible? Oh yeah, that works. So as you can see, because this is just a type, so any type, right? We can have here all the different parts inside. Like about asserts would be one class. If we jump inside, it is this one. And maybe we can also rename the class here. I don't know if we renamed it, for example, to chapter 1. Asserts, maybe. And we are jumping back. And if I would run the whole thing now, we are watching, perfect. So and then this looks also a bit better. Thinking about and then chapter 1 asserts. I think that's pretty cool. So that means with the second lib, so we would create here a second file. For example, chapter 2 about string tests. Do we have to write tests behind? I don't think so, right? Because we have now Dart files, real Dart files. But I think that one makes sense. But here we would also rename that to about asserts and then just remove the tests behind. And here we would also create a class like chapter 2 about string. This is now just an idea that I have. If you have better namings, right, for about asserts, about strings and everything, which makes maybe sense because we have the class name not the same. So maybe we should name that chapter 1 asserts or something. What do you think? In the meantime, I can work on this part. So what I will do now is we have already a lot of tests, right? And all of these tests are working and have like an initial idea on what I wanted to do to solve here. And the idea is now to transform all these tests into an assert method here, right? With the assertions. So what I will do is I copy with the first test, bring that here inside. And instead of having here a test, we would have a void method. I think I had a naming convention for that. Yeah, so Koan needed to be in front. With Koan, we start all the different methods. And I think inside of our Dart Koan's runner, we are searching for the name. So you can see it contains Koan. So if this is the case, we can start with Koan, underline, and then double quoted strings are strings. Voila, creating that. Getting this expected inside. Deleting this part. So how did we do that with an answer? Did we have here something like fill me in? Okay, so we didn't create a variable for that. So what I will do is I create a variable for your answer, for example. And get this is a string. Fantastic. Now we don't have null here, right? Is not a method here, of course. What I could check if your answer is type of string. Sorry, then I have to check. Foo is foo, okay. So string, or better, your answer. But this makes no sense, right, for us. We want to assert that is string. Work like that. Yeah, I know, but as I said, I want to solve these problems, so it is more a fun project on the weekend. If really nobody cares for the next 2 hours and nobody in the future, I will maybe skip this Dart Koans lesson. Which would be a bit sad, because I think all the Dart developers could be interested in that. But what I can do in the meanwhile, if nobody was watching, we can talk about your shared preferences problem. Because what I've seen, what you have done, you remember that we have started with these 2 libraries. And I think in the main.dart it was. And one problem that we had was that at the beginning, when we started up the iOS app, there was nothing saved inside, right? And if you remember, we have here initialized with that index list the first time and saved it the first time immediately. Just to make sure that this list of integers is saved so that we get any value inside. Because if this is not happening, if we don't save at the beginning something, the shared preferences will be empty. And with that, we can't read from it. Whenever we try to read from it, it would fail. So to make sure that we are never have here an empty value inside of this get strings here, this part, we have to always check against it. Or what we have to do is we save something at the beginning into it. I think that should solve your problem, if I thought that correctly. Or else maybe I didn't understand it quite. In the meantime, I think I can also here. So I can fix up my Koans and go further with them in the meantime. So how can we get now 2 of these parts? So the best idea would that we create a next type, which is then chapter 2 about strings. We import that. And now this types would be not only the types, it would be the runnable chapters. Perfect. And now what I want to do is nearly all of this part we want to run above the runnable chapters. So what we would have is like runnable chapters for each. And inside of here, we want to have all of that running. Voila. Fantastic, try it. In the worst case it doesn't work, then you can ask me again. I think that works fine. Cool, so with that we run through all the runnable chapters, 1 and 2, and this could already work. So let's see and restart. Oh, that's a bit too much, I think. And also it's only executing chapter 1 if I see that correctly. Ah yeah, sure, because I have to put the element inside of the reflected class. Now we get the different classes and I call empty. So, fantastic, look at that. So chapter 1 is here with the asserts. We get the different parts that are broken, and after that we execute directly chapter 2. We get some errors, has no instance method. Please think about the following. No such method. Class chapter 1 has no instance method. Okay, this is part of this problem here. And then tried calling. Okay, so cool. Interesting. So we got that what we wanted. We get the error messages from both classes. Fantastic. And next would be to create, import multiple classes would be done. The only thing is what I'm concerned about that is we would jump right away into it. So whenever an error occurs, I don't want to go further with the list, right? I don't want to run further. How can we solve that? I think we had somewhere this is error part, and I think we have also to check against this. So what I will do is instead of having a for each here, we would create something else. We still need the element, which we get from the list up here. But what I want to do is I would create a while loop, and I also would say if there is no error, and bringing that up here. And the second part is I need a counter for that, I think. So while the S loop is ready and the runnable chapters are not empty. So dot length is not is smaller than the index. So there is an integer index that should be 0. Voila. Now with that we put everything inside. And instead of element, we are receiving the runnable chapter and the index. No? Before it is declared. Ah, we have 2 indexes. Okay, that is a bad idea. So this index, what is that about? This is the method index, right? So method index. And this up here is the class index. Voila. So that means whenever we occur an error, we would not start up again. So we rerun our main. Watching. Do we need a Mac in order to publish our app in App Store? I think you Not necessarily. Well, you can do it with the Mac, and it is the best option, I think, because you get directly the error messages and can fix them. But it is also possible to use a CI/CD, like for example, CodeMagic's one, because they have also the opportunity to push your application to App Store. But it is way harder to do if you don't have any Apple device or any Mac or something. I think then it's getting pretty difficult. So if this is false, so the error, we don't have an error, which is fine. And then we say, as long as it is running and the runnable chapters.length is smaller than 0. This is useful. No, that makes no sense, right? Is equal to index. Or better, class index. So that would be better. What do I do here? So the class index should be smaller than the runnable length. And of course we have to enhance the class index on every run. So. And rerun the whole thing. Cool. So, but we stumble across to chapter 2 here in that area, but getting then problems of chapter 1. Okay, so something is wrong here still. The class index is 0, which should be this one, right? Yeah, they are pretty expensive, but there are easier options. I think you can also get like a Mac maybe from a friend or something, if it is just for the deployment. Or what you also can try is to find a MacBox Mini. I think they are a bit cheaper for getting started. And if you don't work with it, then I think the small thing just to deploy it is good enough. So I'm doing the error here, of course, because I want to first execute everything and after that I want to enhance the number. So, could be also a cool do while loop, but I'm happy with that. So let's see. Okay, fantastic. So we got an error, and with that now the chapter 2 is not even starting. And that's perfect because now we can really work one after another. And when we solved all these parts here, so like real value equals the expected value, which int is a string and number, no. So it is most likely unequal. And if we take a look into our runner, exactly, we solved that one, and now I want to solve also the last one. Koan entered values to success has to... Okay, so congratulations. Okay, I better copy paste here. So what happens? Perfect, so you get that. You completely successfully, chapter 1 is successful completed. And now we are coming to chapter 2. So fantastic. We can now start learning with that stuff. So finally we have a runner executed and it will show our result. Because my next steps that I want to do whenever we are ready with all these tests and everything is running green, then I would like to create a Flutter application where we can maybe write the code and get the testing results immediately to make it easier for our users to start with the Koans. But until there, it will be a long path, I think. Okay. So this is that. This is working. Fantastic. This is a bit complicated. I think we can improve that in the future. Maybe we even create like a nested loop or something. On the other hand, I think it's also allowed to be complicated. Why should I change that to a for loop? I'm thinking this is fine for now. Cool. We get our error messages. And now let's fix the second chapter once more. What would happen if I say here this string and we're just replacing hello world with that. Now red, why? Must be a type of boolean. Ah, wait, I make a mistake here, right? Yeah, sure. Okay, so the first parameter of an assert needs to be always a boolean check. So what I wanted to do actually here is your answer is string. And this would be, what was the test here? It's just to check your answer is a string, okay? So your answer is currently null, so is a string would be an error. And what the assert takes as a second parameter is, I think, a hint, right? Oops. So you see, Flutterist, now we have again 9 watchers. Hello everyone, hope you are well. So, and what do I want to do with the string here? Double quoted strings are strings. Okay, that's fantastic. So it seems not to make so much sense at the moment, but let's see. How can I do here now something? Is this a good test? I'm not sure. So your answer is a string. If I would enter here something, hello world, for example, or even replace it with a string. Oh, really, Cardo? Ah, that sounds horrible. So for everyone who didn't understand what Cardo was writing, he wrote that he wanted to donate me something, but unfortunately it doesn't work. So usually you should come on that page, okay? But this doesn't work for you? I don't know. I think you have to do it here. I have never done that, so I think I'm not allowed to donate myself. But I think you have to enter your username, the amount. After that, you can write a short message. I think you can give a GIF, for example. Then you should see something. Wait, I can also show you that. And then at the end, something like this should show up. So, whoever John is. But thank you very much for your support. Oh, really? Then I have to double check that. Don't know if this is broken. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Then I have to check with my provider who's doing that. That's horrible news, to be honest. Okay, anyhow. So we have here the double quoted. Thank you so much. So Koan double quoted strings are strings. So string is string, and this is broken. Why? Should that not be true? No such method error. Class chapter 1 assert has no instance method Koan double quote of strings. That is absolutely true. So maybe we have in our runner still a broken thing. Ah, look at that. So instead of creating our class reflection that we should do, we just hard coded at the moment a chapter 1 assert. This is of course a mistake. So how can we do that? Can I... This is now about assert, which should be wrong. Reflect about assert, and then we invoke. So if we anyway invoke that, why can't we use, instead of this instance, we cannot use the class mirror? I think it's the same, or not? Oh, the other one is the... maybe not. Let's have a look if this is working. Could be that it's broken now. So Koan about assert, doesn't work. So, okay, this is bad news at the moment. So how can I do that? So we have to initialize that, and then we call reflect here. What is reflect needing? An instance mirror. Okay, so we create a class mirror. Why? We get the instance member learning path methods, okay, which is a method mirror. And now we are coming down here with the Dart, okay. I don't see it at the moment. If you have directly an eye on it, how we can fix that easier, just tell me. In the meantime, I will try something like the following. We call the runnable chapters, going to the index, class index, and then we execute that. Because this is a type definition and this would be, oh, there it is. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cardo. That is my third donation and the first in this month. So fantastic, because with that we have some plans. And no, Minu, we don't have any courses at the moment because you don't, or you wouldn't think about it, but it is horrible hard to create courses for something that are really good and that are also up to date, because like Flutter is very fast evolving. And so we are currently really struggling and coming there around. But as soon as there comes something, we will tell you. I think we have a cooperation with a company at the moment that we are trying to work out. And there we will offer you a chance to develop on real projects. And as a result, you will get a certification and such a stuff. And then we can work with that. But at the moment, there is nothing hard. So I can't tell you more than this. So as soon as it's online and everything is open, you will get the information. I promise you. Better. So how do we execute now this part? How we can get a reflection of this object? Can I also give a type inside? Maybe I can just execute that with a type. Restart the app. No. There's no instances. That. So we have here chapter 1 asserts. And this is now the instance of this object. So we have the runnable chapters first, for example. And we want to have this. So let's call it. This is a type, right? And we do something with the type. So we have a reflect class, but we need an instance of it. So here is just some information. Perfect, Flutterist, do that. I'm always open for new information, like for feedback. So if something can be better, tell me. If reflectee is a function or an instance of a class that has a call method, that the returned instance mirror will be a closure mirror. Note that since one cannot obtain an object from another isolate, this function can only be used to obtain mirrors on objects of the current isolate. That's fantastic. I want to do exactly this. How can we do that? We have a reflectee class, so I'm pretty sure we can do something with the class mirror here. New instance, for example. I would do this for Invoke the name constructor and returns a mirror on the result. So we would get an instance mirror, but I have to pass in the constructor name and some arguments. Let's see the class reflected by this mirror. Let A1 and A star be the elements of positional arguments, okay? And K1 till Km be the identifier denoted by the elements of named arguments keys. Was created from the empty string, then this method will execute the instance creation expression. Ow. But I think this is exactly what we need, right? We have to initialize this new instance, and I'm just not sure what will be how we can identify the name of the constructor now. So how can we get I think I can also change the order here a little bit. So, more sense. And what I want to do is class mirror. Is that right? No. Sorry, I got confused with the tabs here. Fantastic. So, class mirror. Class mirror. Is abstract, super interface, has reflectee, is private, qualified name, instance. Okay, so invokes the name controller, returns a mirror on the result. Get field, invoke. That's tough. Class mirror, get instant. Can I get somehow, if I instance mirror is what we need. Can I create one with get type? A mirror on the type of reflectee returns. I think there was also the method reflectee. So instance method, yeah, chapter. Reflectee. Reflect class. We get a class mirror, but we need an instance mirror. And the reflectee needs to be a class, right? So class. Reflect. One as oh, we don't need that anymore, right? I could just say here chapter invoke. So what have you written, Flutterist? After I solve the shared preferences issue, there is another issue that I would like to solve. Okay, let's say I already fetched 257 and my list contains 0 to 10. It is everything possible in programming. The problem is more that I don't absolutely or fully understand your use case that you want to recreate. But actually that should be possible, of course. You just have to identify the list and the new added values on that list. So let's see. We reflect the chapter 1 assert, which gives us an instance mirror, but we can't execute that. And the error message is what? Class type has no instance method, Koan about asserts. Okay, let's go back to how it was before, just that I can read it once more. Don't need that. I reflect the about asserts. And this gets an this invoke comes from no worries. You're very welcome. So this is an instance mirror. And we invoke the whole thing. And is it or will it be an instance mirror if I just pass the type in this reflectee? No, unfortunately not. Can I create an instance out of a create instance out of type? This would be for a generic type. I think that will not be the same. Activator.create instance. Okay, what is an activator? Create instance. No, this is C#. Start. Okay, so they telling me there is an activator. What? No. Okay, not I think. There's currently no such thing. Oh, that's sad. You could create a string factory naming. Okay. So that means I cannot create. But why did I see that for the class mirror? Instance? New instance. Constructor name is an empty string. And positional arguments is just an array. That needs to be a symbol. Alright, so a symbol with an empty string. Fair enough. Which will be an instance with the new instance. Fantastic. Let's see if this works. Fantastic. Wow, it worked! So with that we managed it to get a reflectee of the class. We created that one with a symbol. All the chapters are green at the moment, so these are running fine. If we create an error here, and for example we would say this one is equal, for example, like it was before, and look into our runner, then we will see that the error is arriving, and we manage it to have multiple instances of these Koans ready and go. And with that, if something is don't working anymore, we immediately retrieve the information, show it with our ANSI colors, getting some screens, and I think everyone who's starting to develop in Dart can understand now what he made wrong and where he need to jump to. And that's the benefit of this. Please go to the package. You can also click on it and you immediately arrive at your error. That's brilliant. This is exactly what how I wanted to learn a programming language, and I think there are many Koans that are existent for that. So next step is to fix all the tests that they are working like I expected to. Because now we are finished with this. I think that is working fine. Here we are ready. That's so cool with these references and reflections of Dart. It's fantastic. I mean, if you think about it, that we have a class mirror, method mirror, and so on, that sounds very complicated, but geez, it's so cool that we have that in a language like Dart and that we can work with that like here. Fantastic. Love that. Okay. So now let's bring our other tests into it. I think I want to get all of them swapped here into the chapter 2. Sooner or later. So also if this is breaking now. So next is void Koan. Single quoted strings are strings. And now we can pass these two inside and do the same like above. So we make an assertion that your answer is a string, and instead of doing this, we just say is string. And if we look at the first one, we said that the first value exactly is just the text, and then the second value is a string with the hint inside. So we can pass for this, for example, a hint like pass a string into your answer, or replace your answer with a string. With string. All right. And the same thing we can do with that here, and can just say the same part. And get that inside, and we replace with string, exactly, because this is now single quoted. So everyone can see, okay, if I replace that with string, and I think I should give it a better name than small letters string. This should be something like, I don't know, single quoted string. And this here double quoted. Fantastic. And here we can replace that with your answer again. And we can remove the test. And I think we have also to take care later that our real tests that we have here make sure that all these asserts are really broken. That sounds a bit weird, but because we don't want to check something in that is already fixed, right? We want that our students have a possibility to learn the language. So with that, we have to write tests that everything is broken so they can fix it. So next part, void triple quoted strings are strings. So, and if you ask why my method names are so long, the idea is that the method name is understandable for our users so that they can understand what the question is about. Now we can remove that is string and going away with that. Hint, replace your answer with triple quoted string. And of course, these are only the easy solutions, right? So string asserts is nothing too major and difficult, but it's getting difficult, more and more difficult if we are coming into, for example, lists and objects. And we can also work with reflectees, right? We can test all of that. We can even create isolates and ask the people to create multiple isolates and show them how it is working. Of course, this could be more difficult, but this helps everyone who wants to start with the programming language Dart to get a result done, right? And now we see here a lot of errors, which makes a lot of sense because we just run the app. We rerun it. We still get some errors. Raw strings are okay, cool. That is because all these tests here are getting executed by the watcher, right? Whenever something changes. And because there are compile errors, of course it fails completely. So, next part is this here. So void triple single quoted strings work too. We create a method for that, getting the stuff inside. Can take exactly this part here to make it us a bit easier. Rename this string here to triple single quoted string. The name's getting better and better. And I change the answer here behind with it. Perfect. So remove the test and further. Raw strings are also strings. And if you would say you don't need that and you think you are already that far with Dart, for example, I learned here that you can have that you can concatenate different strings by just making a space between, so you don't need the plus sign and so on. Like here, I was completely shocked when I saw that first time. Didn't know that. So yeah, even if you do already a long time working with Dart, you learn still something if you do these, let's say, beginner work. And the best thing of that is we help other developers, right? So when someone is using our Dart Koans, and even if it is just one people who learns now the language, that would be already fantastic. For example, did you know that this small r in front of a string will make it to a raw string? Also something So your answer, hint, replace your answer with raw string. Cool. And the good thing is you cannot just replace up here the answer, because if you would do that, not all of them would be fixed, right? So you have to make sure that they are, they would be fixed. Is this a good solution then? Well, we would check against is a string, which could be anything. So as soon as I change here, hello world, then everything of these would be fixed, right? So maybe we should do it a bit differently. Maybe we really should check against these text here. But let's first fix that up. So we're taking that inside. And this would be, what is the problem? Your answer string, what do we want to solve? Ah, we want to have double quotes in it, okay. So that's okay. Void use double quotes. And get rid of this part and replace this with an assert, in your answer and a string. Yeah. So you can see here would be the answer true or false, but because it is null and a variable, it doesn't bring us any compile errors. And latest here, you couldn't fix it by just creating a string out of it. On the contrary, you would create compile errors, and this would lead to completely different problems. Triple quoted strings can span lines. Oops. And bring this part here inside. Search. What was the question here? So your answer should be the string length. Okay, so this would be like this. And we have to everywhere prepare the hint texts, of course. So next would be this one. Okay, so this is fine. And the next part. Make this white maybe. And voila. If I'm searching for space and replacing that with a next, replace. I think we are coming a bit faster with that. So here we have search. Okay. Good. What do we have next? Void plus concatenates strings. Voila. So this is just some boring work, I know, but Someone has to do it. This is a data concatenation. That makes a lot of sense, right? The dollar is this dollar sign at the beginning looks familiar with jQuery, right? Don't run away. It's still Dart. Assert is equal to. This is fine. And the last one is. Can I have brackets inside of a name? I don't think so. How can we name that? That's gonna be difficult, I think. No, that doesn't work. This is not working like that. I am absolutely certain. Okay, we bring these down and the test can begin. I think we can make that a bit better, clearer. So dollar plus curly brackets allows attribute selection. Third, that the answer is perfect. Yeah. Okay. And the next is adjacent strings are concatenated. Third, your answer equal to string. I think I have here a typo, concatenation. Yeah, way better. And this can be gone. So this is a tedious work here, so do you have published? I have one published app actually. It is maybe, or I don't know if it is published. I think it is somewhere as a demo. If we are looking for the Google Play Store, if you search for apps, and I think it is electric calculator. Is it there somewhere? Oh, you see. At least I'm not the only one. No, I think I have one. And it should be also visible somewhere. Huh. I'm in German at the moment, so it is more Stromkosten. Something like that. No, this is it not. Ah, here we go. It is currently in beta, so that's why it's not everywhere visible. Can send you the link down. But this is my very first app that I created. I used Provider for it, and it is looking very dirty and ugly, but it has some statistics inside. It is possible to have it remotely with media queries and everything. You can have it horizontally and landscape mode and everything. So I'm pretty proud of it. And the most important part of it is dark mode and light mode. So the idea is because when I moved into this house here, we had the problem that we have to enter our energy costs all the time ourselves, and that was such a big problem that I started to start to write an app for it. And the cool thing is now that you can see immediately your pricing, what you have to pay, what your yearly bill is, and so on. So it is, yeah, as you see, it's fully beta, and yeah, just one plus installation, so nobody really cares. But it is my installation, and I'm very happy with it. And maybe I will release that as soon as I have updated this graph here, because what I learned from my own user experience is that nobody really cares that is energy prices going up. That is like you have one big graph that is just showing up and up and up, and it's going higher and higher. Doesn't really help. Yeah, so I'm not that active in the Google Play Store, unfortunately. So most of you will most likely have more and better solutions already. Is it true that Germany companies hire people who know German? Well, I hope so. Well, there are a lot of companies who are inviting only German-speaking people. That is also true. So if you only speak English and you don't speak German at all, you will have a tough time in Germany, I think. At least this is what I hear and what I see around. Oh, what was that? Whole house is exploding. I knew it from Switzerland. They have way more interesting policies with inviting people. They have even a source code that I found that is completely in German. So you write everything in German, which is a bit weird in my opinion, but yeah, they do it like that. What we can do maybe for the next stream is to improve my my app that I have here and improve it in a way that the dialogue and everything is working a bit better. Because as I said, it is currently in a real weird situation. Hey Ravle, very nice to see you around first. You will have a lot of interesting stuff in front of you, I think. How much Dart do you need to know before diving into Flutter? Good question. I would recommend you none. Just start. When I began, I also had no idea about Dart. I was a JavaScript developer like you. I think I came more from an Angular perspective. And I just started right away. The only difference is as deeper you go into the source codes and learning and understanding the different platforms, I would highly recommend to learn at least a bit of Dart. And this would be, I don't know if you know about the Dart Koans, but as soon as I'm finished with them, they will help you to learn Dart. I hope at least. So yeah, because I think the prototyping in Flutter is so amazing, you really don't need to know Dart at all. What was the question here? Plus equals will append to the end of the string. So foo plus equal bar will be hello world, right? So what do I do here? No, this would be foo. So the question is, so can we use null safety now, or is it going to be an update from Flutter side? I think as soon as you work on Flutter master, so on the channel master, it should be included already, because there the Dart version is 2.8. I don't want to belie now, but I think this is the case. So you could try that and it could work. So with that we have this. Plus equals also leaves original string unmodified. That is also important. Look. What I will do now is this. That's so cool that we have the final string moments here ready. And you're very welcome, Ravle. I hope you enjoy the content here on the channel. If you need something or if you have any ideas for feedback, please let me know. In the future we can improve everything. We're still working on it. Yeah, I think if you use stable channel there, it will be not a part of. No, and this is good. This was now a lot of text writing and not a lot of logic or anything else that would be additionally helpful. So what I will do is now I will check if this stuff is working. So I will run everything once more, and it looks good. Now we will fix the stuff, and what I want to do is make that half-sized just to see if the watcher is also running fine. So we are working now on this problem. So the real value is the expected value. So this is unequal. And with that we fix that. So the runner is running, chapter 1 is complete, we are going to chapter 2. Now we have here the double quoted, I think I just have to replace that. And we fixed it. And we take the single quoted. And we fixed it. And now it tells us it is completed successfully. So the question is now why? I thought we have more of that. Okay, so we found a bug again. So where do we read all the different methods? I think that needs to be here, somewhere in these mirrors. Do we get the method index here? Ah, and most likely we don't set it back to 0, huh? It should be. So learning path methods. So let's have a look here. What I will do is I make a debug point here. And instead of running the whole thing, we will debug it. Let's see how we are jumping. We do not. That's unfortunate. Ah, that's just the first time, right? So if something is changing, for example, we would return here again. Hey Taha, nice to see you. So if we enter here now your answer again, maybe we jump now inside? No, still not. Ah, the problem is that the debugger is not running inside of this isolate. We are running from the main, we are calling the watcher and spawn a new isolate that is executing the Dart runner Koans, Dart Koans runner. And this leads to the problem that we have here at this point, the reflections, and we can't make a breakpoint here inside. Okay, so this makes debugging way harder. So let's see what methods we have if I'm executing that. And rerun. So we get a lot of text here, that's good. Method names, all the different method names, that's fine. Plus equals, okay, so it finds the different parts. We call that now. Looking back into the... Huh. That's a bit weird. So it finds all the first chapters, but it can't find all the second chapters. Or at least it doesn't execute them in the right order. Dart Koans. So what is the problem here? Print the method index at that place. Maybe it's changed. And restart the whole thing. 0, okay. So this is working fine, it's just jumping back. And then for each method we are going for the length of this. So what is the length? Running into the debug again. 25. What? Wait, I think it is more this part, right? So the length here is not quite correct. What do we get from the entries? It was fantastic, Taha. It was fantastic. The talk was amazing. I think I was a bit nervous, and I had like till the last second I really worked on the talk that I create everything correctly and that everything is on place and I can just jump into it. But the execution was great. We had like moderators, which was fantastic. Also the background tasks, so everyone who's working in the background had like a very fantastic job there. and I think I also talk afterwards with a lot of people there, and it was really a joy. And I saw also on the other side like how MATLAB is working with all that, and it was also fantastic how it is all set up. And I really would like to do it once more. It was so fantastic. Just the next time I would like to take a topic that I'm even better inside than isolates, because it was really a tough topic to explain. That is also very tough. So I'm really, next time maybe I do something easier, like what is a container, or even a list or something. But I think it was fantastic, and the audience or the community was also great. So I had a lot of fun. How did you enjoy the Flutter days? What was your favorite talk? Could you see now all? I mean, there was quite some talks in the Flutter days, right? So, entry key. How can we have 25? Do we have so many methods here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really? Oh, that's perfect. If a lot of good reviews are there, then I will take that. I have a video about myself, but at the moment it is just if you click on the intro for our channel. If you go to, don't know if I, now I can tell you something. So see FlutterExplained it is. And I think there is a small video that's always shouting at myself whenever I'm I don't know where it is right now, but usually there is a small video that is shouting at myself where my small explanation comes from. But we hope that this is getting updated in the future, because MATLAB is now part of the team, and MATLAB and I doing the videos at the moment together. So we want to make a better explanation, who we are, what we are doing, and so on and so forth. Pro Coach, yep. I really got that with the advanced topics, and I think that was also very interesting for everyone, right? So it was also good for me, because if I don't get challenged, then it's boring. If that would work, Taha, that would be fantastic. But at the moment, I have more the believing that Andrew Brockton would create its own Flutter news instead of working with us together. But let's see. You never know, right? Would be a crazy opportunity, let's say it this way, right? Because yeah, to work together with Google is always great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can't count them. How do you count that easier? I think we have here somewhere the structure. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 18 methods. But if this would work, yeah, I would be very glad. We have also some, what a bit weird is, after last week, Sunday, we get like requests from certain sponsors that want to sponsor our content, but they are a bit fishy, I would say, and I don't trust them, you know, and if I don't trust them, how can I announce them to you guys? That would be like, would be so bad. I don't know, I can't live with myself if I'm doing something like that. But if Google would join, that would be fantastic. It would be different. That would change a lot of things, I think. Concatenation. Oh, that's right. Break. I think brackets is wrong, right? Yeah. And I'm really happy that so many good feedback comes now with the channel. I think the last video from Flutter News, it was going through the roof, which is fantastic for us, right? That shows us also, I can maybe show some statistics. I don't know where they are, maybe up here. So give you a bit insights in YouTube from our side. So this is how it looks at the moment. And as you can see, especially if I'm going here for the last 360 days, it's like crazy what has changed, right? So this is where I started, where I thought, where we met the first time, Taha, I think. And then like now we are here. So it has changed quite something, right? That is incredible. And the most of the people have seen the Flutter news or something. So the first time when I worked on a YouTube channel was here. So you see, that was my first impact. And if you take a look into my first videos, because I have some earnings, right? There's $6 here that you see. And the best thing of this is, if I'm going here, you can see I was a YouTube Let's Player where I just played some games for fun. But it was 6 cents worth in that time, and I didn't need to have any restrictions. That was a time in 2017. But yeah, so we are working on it, and as you see, the amount of videos that we right now publishing are getting crazy, and also the feedback from you guys is just amazing. We are just happy that we have you and that we are working together like that. So yeah, it's getting better, it's getting better. Maybe soon we can even live from it. So I will close that off. Thank you, thank you. I mean, it's going somewhere, you know, it's also without any advertisement or something. Yeah, we are doing it full time. So Mahtab and I Mahtab and I are searching currently for jobs if we would find something. And I think I have also an offer that I would start maybe in the next months or so. But at the moment I'm full time for a YouTube channel for FlutterExplained. And to be honest, I would not say that, but you really need the time. It's crazy. If you want to bring at least a bit of content that is not just, let's say, easy content, you really need the time. It's crazy how much effort it is behind. Especially if you have like the video from, not Riverpod, the other one, the Qubit one, for example. It takes like 2 days. If you think about it, you have to cut the video, you have to record the video. You set up a good video description, going into all the details, writing a script, which I thought at the beginning is completely not necessary, but if you write a script, it is so helpful. And then it's also a lot of heart, you know, it's like if you love what you are doing, you never work a day in your life, right? But it would be good to live from it, right? To have some money on the side to like anything, you know, I love coffee, so without a good cup of coffee it's getting difficult. And then it's great if you have some people who are supporting us otherwise. But yeah, at the moment we try to make it full time, and if it would be successful, we would be very happy. So let's see. But now I'm getting away again with my shoe, sorry for that. So somehow the length of this learning path methods is weird. And the method index is unequal to method index. What is a join button on YouTube? Is there some? What is a join button on YouTube? Join button YouTube. It's if you have the membership, so it will take like I think maybe 2 or 3 months depending on how the content is going, because you need the 4,000 hours of hours of watch time, and to get 4,000 hours of watch time, it's like an incredible number. You don't believe that. The subscriber count is nothing against it. But then you are eligible for a membership. But that doesn't mean that you get the membership. The membership is just like your entry card to get money from YouTube, and then you can also work with it more closer. And this is why we are currently working with these second pages like FlutterExplained.live and Buy Me a Coffee, just that we get some donations. And I think today we got one from Kado. Thank you for that once more. We try to live with that more or less. Yeah, and if you watch the stream and stay with the stream, you can also get these loyalty points, right? And you have like early access for our blog post. You can have even a cheer sound here in the chat and all that stuff. So we try a bit around, playing around. And of course, merchandise. So if you want to have a mouse pad with our logo, it's your chance. I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. Never thought that I would create something like that. Okay, anyhow. I want to fix my problem here. So let's get into it and let's print that stuff. So close that one off. And it's interesting that this don't work like expected, because why is it working for the first one? And here we have 4, but he get 9. And I think what I had, I get a new instance. Instance invoke key. Learning path entries. Class mirror instance members. And what does instance members are? Method mirrors. Methods, getters and setters of an instant of the class. Interesting. So can I get... Yes, true. Mahtab and I, in the when we are doing our live streams on Wednesday, we always wear our t-shirts. So that's already fantastic. The only thing is that I really need are the coffee cups, but as you know, we don't have so much money at the moment. And so I can't buy my own merch at the moment, which is completely ridiculous. Yeah, but this is also related to the increase of the live streams, because what we have found is that live streams are a very good catch for the view hours at the end. So not the Dart Koans especially, because, well, nobody is really interested in pure Dart programming. But if you are programming in Flutter or something like that, mostly we have a lot of people who are jumping into and have some questions and working with us together, which is a lot of fun. So highly recommend that. So get the first one. Hey Nicole, nice to see you around. Hope you are well. So what do we have here? So we get all these different methods. That looks good. We have hash code. Good. We don't need that necessarily. Create symbol string class. Okay, cool. We think about that. So we get an error. We learning path length to list, and then we get the method index. All right. Then we increase the method index. Here already. I think we don't need that somewhere else. And then we are searching for, of course. Well, this is a mistake. So all of our tests that we have here has to start with the nice little word Koan. And then else we would not identify them. How can I do that the easiest way? So I think, yeah, let's do it with the clicking. Sorry if I use the mouse so often, but at the moment I don't know the keyboard shortcut. And we'll add these parts and the last voila. Okay, that makes way more sense, because what we are doing inside of the Dart Koans runner, we are checking only for the Koan name, and after that we use these, and everything else is not getting used in that area. It would be maybe optimal to reduce also the list where we want to run through, so that learning path methods length should be shorter, so that we have only the Koans inside. No, we will do that in the future. The future max will solve that problem. But cool, now we have these parts here, we can fix that, and we jump into the problem and solve it by giving the answer. And if everything works well, our runner is immediately showing the next parts. That's so I'm so happy with that solution. So good. So we solved it, and our runner is running again. And to make it yeah. And the best thing is it would work in every terminal, right? This is just our terminal now, but what we can do is I can close that off, and we could execute any terminal like this one. I'll make that a bit bigger for us. And let's search for our files. I think development. Here we have, oh, sorry, that would be idea projects, because I cloned it new. The Dart Koans, and if we are executing now Dart, bin main.dart, we get also here our Koans, right? So we get our different problems that we have to solve with the color codes. We have even some icons inside. So everyone can work with that and can learn or improve his knowledge about Dart. The only problem that we unfortunately have here, we only see the package name and we can't navigate to it. But for this, we can work inside of our runner, and then also this is working. So if you are working with IntelliJ or Visual Studio Code, I think there should it work too. Then you have the possibilities here. So, and here we have to enter, for example, hz. Oops. Here, this is wrong. Yes. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Flutterist. Enjoy your rest of your day. Thank you for joining us. So, why I'm solving all these issues right now is more not necessarily because I have to learn it. It is more to test once more that everything is working. And if it does, then I want to write the tests to test that all the tests are wrong. It sounds weird, but it makes a lot of sense, you will see. And the second thing is here A is B, so this is true. And here, if we are joining this, we can see it is right. Next is this one. Your answer is string.length. And what is it? That will be a failed assertion. Oh, sadly, I hope this is counting for us. Now, what is the length here? I have no idea. How could we do that? I think what we can do is string.length. Would we get here also like a print? If I print the string.length, is our solution good enough to give us a string? Oh yeah, so we can also code here inside. Fantastic. So then we have the next. Must not be null. Okay, where is this coming from? Okay, so this one, we assert that our answer is equal to A equals B. Your answer would be true. Wait, this is not a solution, right? I think also this is not a solution because true is true, which makes no sense for the assert, which will be always happy. What we have to do is now, how can we do that? With that, we would automatically solve it, which would not help us. So we could fail it with that. I think this should work. And then we can make it clear. And then this can be gone. Something like that. I think makes more sense. Cool. So all the tests are running. This is the next one. The same would be here. We would let it fail from the beginning. Cool. And we make it equal. And with that we solve the issue. So what do we say here? Our answer is the same like the string, which would be hello world. Koan escaping quotes at the end of the triple quoted string. Okay, so we escaped the last quote here. So this would be our solution. Okay. That. And this works fine. And then here we have hello world. Also here, hello world, as a string of course. Okay, but it seems to work, and I think it makes no sense to solve them all now, but to keep in mind that this has to be done. So, and what I want to do now is to write the tests, because as I said, we have to make sure that, especially if we want to integrate later in CI/CD that is testing that for us, I want to make sure that these tests are always failing at the beginning, so that nobody checks something in that is already fixed, because with that you would not understand the benefit of these Dart Koans. So what I will do is creating a test called chapter 1 test. Dart, of course. Here we go. And the good thing is, hopefully, I think I have to name it exactly the same. So we'll do that. Test. Because now with that we can have jump to test, I think. Jump. If you are here and we are making Command-Shift-T, we are jumping to the test and back to the file itself. So with that we have them connected and we are easier to work here in that area. So this is the first time that we write some tests. Isn't this great? So we need inside of every test file, we need a main, which will get executed as the first, like every Dart application. And here we have the possibility to give some groups and some methods inside. And as you see, it's getting already red because we have to import something, the test framework. Cool. So our group is now, so yeah, we don't necessarily need a group because it is only the chapter 1 that we test. But what I will do is I enter here at least once, chapter 1 about asserts. And you will see in a second why. Because now when we do it like this and have a test here inside, where we can give another description and also a callback, we can now test our first function. So we jump here inside, taking the name of the file, or I will do that, and add it here. And now I want to test this. And because this is an assert here inside, we want to make sure that when we test it, this assert fails. And it should throw us an error, right? So my idea is now that we first set up this part. Setup. And setup is always called before every test. So this method goes first, then it goes into the test. Then it goes again to the setup, then goes to the next test, and so on and so forth. And with that, we can now create our chapter 1. Right? That would be chapter 1 about asserts. Is chapter 1 about asserts. This is our subject. Subject is a dead way because I always give it the name. Subject is the part that we want to test. And now I made a mistake. I don't want to initialize it here. I want to initialize it here. So subject is equal to this. Fantastic. Now in our test, we want to execute the first test, which is about asserts, right? And now this should be fine, right? So if we execute this testing here, and I will run that. So what is happening? Oh, takes longer than I expected. Recompiling. Okay, the test was successful, unfortunately. So what does it mean for us? This means that this test here is currently working, which it shouldn't. It should throw an error. And if I'm running the test again, we should get an error. And this is exactly what we want, because what we really want is to getting this assertion error and want to tackle that. So we want actually that the test is green when it's failed. I hope this makes sense. It sounds so weird, but it makes a lot of sense for me at the moment in my head. So let's see. How can we have a test? Dart test check assertion error. So we execute a method, and then we can say throws exception. Throws error even. Thank you, Taha. Also there I was very proud because a PR in GitHub for the Flutter team, and then also could add you somewhere to ask you to close a PR off, to close a thing off. Was really enjoying. I was really happy with that. It was merged, yeah. And then next week on Wednesday we want to go further there, or I want to go further there. That I search like easy fixes and start to going into that. and also doing that also live. I think that's pretty cool. But all thanks to you, right? Yeah, I know. I think someone who worked with me on the PR closed it. The funny thing was, I don't know if you have. I had this cool video on Twitter yesterday where I had the this fuck up moment, because in the PR I somehow managed it to get all the merge replies inside of it, and I was like, oh, panic. Right away, panic. But yeah, it's finally green also, and I think he closed the PR. The Xia Hao Hong. Yeah, but it was quite a challenge and quite interesting to do that. It was really intimidating, but I think we made a good job at the end, and it works. And it's also only a quick fix and an easy fix, but still, you have to start somewhere, right? How to unit test. So we said we execute the method, and after that throws it. Okay, so we expect something here. We expect that we execute this part, and then we expect throws a. Yeah, that's true. Also, something that I didn't know, or where I'm not very familiar with, is testing of widget tests and so on. So it was quite interesting to work with Hans Muller there, because he gave me some information. I think iTunes gave me also a lot of information there. Yeah, I mean, I made a whole session before that, and we talked about how we have tree hygiene, how we implement everything. I made only a short view in the documentation, like 1 or 2 hours, and I think everywhere was standing, hey, please add tests and so on, so it felt like natural to do so. But the easy way was, because it was already fixed in other PRs, I could just copy the test there, which was pretty cool. Thank you. Type match. So what do we actually want to test against? Thank you, Arto. Throws. So which error was getting thrown? I didn't check that. I think an assertion error. Assertion error. So let's run the test again. Still yellow. Okay. Expected throws assertion. Actual was a closure. Assertion error. Throw new. Expected is. Throws exception. Throws. Ah, maybe it's already. No. No, unfortunately not. I don't have an iOS device. I'm running only with my Oppo device. Matab is the one with iOS, so she will know more about that topic. Somehow I always try to avoid iOS. It's too expensive for my, in my opinion. Throws an argument error. Throws maybe I don't have, or have to write here in closure, because we all anyway call just this. obvious. Okay, no, this makes no sense. That's true. Throws instance of expectation. Yeah, but we get an assertion error. Can I test Dart test assertion error? Okay, there is an issue open. Oh, from Philip. Nice. Exactly what I get as a problem, so... We have expected. I give that a thumb up, of course. Ah, alright. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, sure. So, make some commas here and test the whole thing again. So, it's not perfect, but at least we test here if we get an assertion error. So that means we at least check that nobody checks something in that is not that doesn't throw an assertion error. The only problem that I see still, we could change something here inside, right? We could have this changed. So the question is, should we change, can we identify the text that we pass with? On the other hand, is that really necessary? I think that's the full test that we have to write for nearly all the test parts. I think that would be good enough, so we can make sure that the tests are running. And that would be fantastic for our CI/CD. So what I will do now is writing a test for all of these parts. And could take a while, but I think that makes sense. So we copy more or less this test. Voila. Give in a text here inside. Calling it. And getting the same error. And why can't I execute the group here? Return null. So perfect. So this means this test is still fixed. Real value is, the expected value is 0. So. It's pretty funny because with the Koans we try to fix all the tests, and with that we try to kill them, try to break them again. So this next one. Do I have more questions that I can answer, hopefully? And at the moment we have a lot of stuff to do, so I don't take so much time for the community at the moment, which is a bit sad. Would do them way more, but we do so much stuff. It's crazy. Can't believe that. And I love every second of it. Yep. So this one is still fixed. Expected is fantastic, and also the last test that is failing would be fill me in. Oh. Better I can try here already giving the your answer, creating a field for that, and make it null. Good. So let's see if we can make some better music. Maybe high energy, high BPM. Nothing happens in the code, then at least at the music it should be better. So all of these can be gone too. Now we start again with that. Can I copy all the namings here? Don't know if this is possible, but let's see. Ooh, it works. Fantastic. Okay, so now we will have some action here. What I want to do is creating for all of them a test. Because I'm super lazy, I do it for all of them right away. So, one too much. No, one too much again, sorry for that. Fantastic. So now we want to create tests for all of them. So that would be test. We have a description here, which is the name of that. After that, we execute this, and we have here our test. And if we create a semicolon for that, and here we want to have our test inside, which would be this part. And because we know this part will be copied here, that will be also here. Ah, close. It was so close. I think we added everywhere an NT at the end. And subject has to be changed, of course. Subject is chapter 2 about strings. Subject equals to begun. And begun and do this. Do we have to? Yeah, I think that makes sense. So we will create a setup method here. Setup, creating callback, and subject is equal to that. And this should be inside of that group. And here we are. Happy day. Unfortunately, we have doubled all the tests now, so I will remove them quickly. Yeah, we have this. Okay. Then we have a different problem. Can we escape that? Yeah. Getting this away and down here away. Next test. Fantastic. Now we just solved the last little issues. Koan raw strings are important. And the next issue is plus concatenated strings. One. Koan subject. Oh, here was a big mistake. Alright. We have this. Subject dot Koan is a better concatenation. Fantastic. Good. With that, we can run the tests. Get some issues because we solved some of these tests, which is fine. So here would be your answer. And also here. Have you already tried the new iPhone or iOS 14? So, with that, all our tests should pass now. And we have made sure that all tests running or all chapters are now broken again. So if we are creating also a configuration for that, for these Dart tests, create a Dart test, all in folder, and the folder should be tests. What is that? This is in the Flutter part. No, this is wrong. We want to have that in idea projects, Dart Koans, and then have we here the test folder. We apply and should give that a name. Run all tests, for example. Try once more and run that. We can see all tests should be executed now. And this looks fantastic. Cool. And why is that important? Now when we run the tests and we would create a CI/CD for the whole thing, then we would have the possibility to make sure that all developers are sure that all tests are failing whenever they check something into master. This is important for us. Cool. So the tests are running. We have now finally added our Dart Koans runner additionally, so we can now use it. And with that, we will commit the whole thing into our branch, creating a PR for it and merging it. Finishing touches and tests for the runner. Koan runner. Now we commit the whole thing, we review. Seems to be some issues. Okay, so we have some unused variables. And because IntelliJ is pretty smart, it tries to automatically gives us the hint, hey, remove it in the best case. But what I will do is I will actually ignore it. The question is now, should we do it for the whole file or just for the line? And I'm more sure that we should do it for the whole... this is possible. Still, I don't like the idea. Because the problem is now, when we just ignore it for this line, it could confuse our customers, right? Because someone who wants to learn Dart maybe don't know about these ignore stuff. So this is maybe not a good idea. Can I ignore it on top of here? No. I think we can just ignore it now while the commit. But for the future, we should find a solution that our IDE don't gives these problems. Debug watches start watching. I think that is fine. Can you leave that for now? After the event is started, I think that is already done. Cool. And commit. We commit again. So all our changes are now in the runner development. I push. And we have all the changes here in our PR. And as you see, we have a lot of changes here, but they were all necessary to really create this build runner now. And because we have that now in place, we can actually merge it. And maybe the next session will be where we create a CI/CD for the whole thing, so that whenever we push something into the branch that this is running, we can do that with GitHub Actions, I think. And then whenever we are sure that we have changed it, we can work with it. So let's finish that one up. Do we have any issues with that? Can I see something that we really should change? This makes sense. We have the runnable chapters. I'm not sure if we can get them as a list somewhere. Maybe we create a markdown or something, so we could also change or be flexible with the amount of tests that we want to run or that our user wants to have. This could be something for the future. But our runner is working. We have a process manager in place. We spawn a new isolate with our run method. We created assertions and tests for all the parts for the first chapter where we talk about asserts. We created tests for the second chapter where we talked about strings. We have removed some stuff like the library .koans because we don't need that anymore. Here's some changes. Okay, this has nothing to do with the build runner or Koans runner, but I keep it. We added here and removed a lot of testing, and that looks fine. We are happy with this. Cool. And if I now make them all viewed, I will give this myself an approval, which I can't because I'm the author. Fair enough. But I will merge the pull request now. So what have we changed? The runner is now in place, and the Koans are now usable. Wait, can I do... yeah, I can make a squash and merge, because what I want to have is just one commit message for my master branch. And here I think we can also add +1, no? Z. Okay, now I confirm it. And we merge that. So that means we have this now in our master branch. And this is pretty awesome. Because what this means is that a user, so if you want to check it out, you go to that Dart Koans part, and just add that as a chat message. There we go. So you can go there, you can check out this repository with the code, you just check it out, going into your command line inside of the project and execute the following command. You go .bin/dart, of course with Dart in front of it, and make sure that you execute Dart bin main.dart. And if you do so, you can now, following along the different tasks, like just going inside, solving the issue here, learning the language Dart one by one with all the different asserts, you get the solutions for it, you work your way up to learn more about Dart. And with that, we really have a big impact on the customers. And I think that's pretty fantastic. So if you want to help out, I would be happy if you create issues for it, helping me with the other chapters, or talking about the stuff. Maybe you have some better ideas, or you give that to your friends who just start with Dart development. If you have any questions, now it's the time. Now or never, I always say. And else, I would say thank you very much for watching. It was a fantastic session again. Nice, I'm very proud that our Dart Koans slowly taking a bit form, so they're getting better and better, right? I mean, we have a runner, we have instance mirrors, we have class mirrors, we have everything that we need more or less to run all that stuff. We talked about ANSI pen, we have ANSI colors, and so on and so forth. And it's pretty cool at the end. I mean, the solution can be is visible, right? It's something. And this is pretty cool. Now we maybe improve the texting and so on, but we don't have so many stuff to do anymore for that. You're very welcome, Ravle. I hope it helped you a little bit. I know it is quite a lot if you are just talking about Dart the whole time. But I really like it. Fantastic. And then I hope to see you the next time. Thank you for joining. Until the next time. See ya. Button.